I got a little, actually, I wrote some notes down. I don't have them ordered in line, so I think that'll be the, let's see, I want to get rid of police brutality. I want to get rid of homelessness. I want to get rid of poverty. And one I was thinking of as we were talking was, they wrote a 5,500-page, $900 billion COVID bill that even Bernie and AOC had signed. 5,500 pages, there's no fucking way they read the whole thing or they know exactly what's in that thing. So how could you ever sign that much in good conscience? And how much pork and how much of the plutocrats and the oligarchs and all the friends of the elite, got their paycheck? I don't trust this government. I have zero confidence in this government, so I wrote down new constitution. I feel like it would be nice to get elected and this, go into Congress and say, this is what the hell they're doing. This is incredible. And I'm sure that, everybody probably knows, it works in Washington, but the American people don't know, and I would be naive and I'd be like, what the heck is now they're...
It's technically doable. I mean, if you had 20 interns, or what, if you had 50 interns, then each one would be responsible for 1,000 words. That's doable. 1,000 pages.
Well, actually, the best constitution would be the one that you could just put it all on one page. Imagine that if all of America was on the same exact, literal page. And the whole idea was the Constitution was a bare-bones framework. It was just a bare-bones structure. They didn't want to get into those tiny details. They just want to say, here's how, our democracy, our, democratic republic is going to work. And
I think though that everybody would have different, right now though, since we not that I think you're wrong or anything, or that there's anything wrong. I mean, I think that you're right about that, but the problem becomes what would you change? What would you change? What wouldn't you change? What would you change something to? And then everybody would have different opinions about that, and we're so divided and we're so split up right now, and everybody's thinking so much different stuff.
Well, here, let me just pitch some things at you. I would,
very hard.
Freedom of speech. Where are you at on freedom of speech?
Well, right.
Three branches of government. Where are you at on the three branches of government?
The Constitution's pretty good as it stands. Some of it needs to be restored, like what was taken away in the Patriot.
Really? The Constitution is awful. What's good about it? You have to defend to me. You got to tell me why we got to keep this system in place and keep Nancy Pelosi and everybody here.
Keep it in place and just amend it by putting in,
two-thirds majority. You got to get two-thirds of Congress to get an amendment. Two-thirds of Congress. We're just seeing right here they ain't going to do, anything. They're not going to do the bare minimum.
I would like to see a new amendment added that required the focus of industry and business to be sustainability, utilitarianism that is sustainable. So just providing the great amount of...
I don't know. You said no to my Constitution, so I'm going to say no to your amendment.
No, that's all I'm saying. It's that's my main. If they could change that and we could get to where we were.
Well, I'd like to take out the slavery clauses. They say that black people are 3/5 of a person. That's terrible. We should take out the slavery clauses. That would be a good start. The Electoral College, that's embedded. The two-thirds majority thing. Senate. Why do we have a Senate? My God, is that we're going to protect Pelosi and Mitch McConnell by protecting this stupid old 1789 piece of parchment. Oh, hail the great Constitution. The Constitution is the reason why we have all the problems we got right now. Poverty, endless war, everything. I think it would be better if we turned government off and if we just got rid of the government and just said, okay, Ben, it's me and you, so how are we going to establish this brand new system? We would do infinitely better. We would do infinitely better than...
Maybe. We of course would think it was better, but objectively would it be better? And it wouldn't be better because it would become from something that was decided upon by a group of people and decided upon with like noble aims to just maybe if we had noble aims it was still just something like we just dictated it, mandated it. I think it's way more noble to come to ideas like that and have a system like the checks and balances in Congress. Like if you didn't have the Senate, you'd have states like New York, Texas, and California determining way too much of what goes on.
Yeah, because they don't have any power right now. They don't determine everything anyways right now. I don't know, man.
They do have a lot of power still.
I think if we turned off government and turned it back on, or turned it off and turned it back on, we would both agree freedom of speech is a good thing, and then we would probably maybe freedom to assemble. I don't know. There's 72 freedoms that I know about that we got legally, and that's not including our human freedoms, our inherent human freedoms. So I would like to add like the right to privacy, right to find a family, right to whatever. So, I mean, there's the right to privacy, right to found a family. There's two brand new freedoms that Americans don't have. Why would you be in favor of those, or would you be opposed to those in my Constitution?
I think privacy is a good one. I mean, just the idea that people have been talking about for a long time, which is like you can't go outside without being on camera like 100 times. I don't know. The same thing is like it reminds me of like it says the average person sees 1,000 ads per day. And, like that, like, it's just our reality these days. I mean, you can do something about ads.
Do you have what would be your top 10 list? I want to throw out all the ideas.
Not be advertised to more than 15 times or 50 times a day.
I want to throw out all the ideas and then just kind of real briefly kind of say the ones that we agree on and then the ones that we disagree on, kind of figure out why it is that we disagree on this.
The Constitution, I'm down with it, but I really want to...
Well, you told me to say my top 10 things, and I said I got to the third thing, and you interrupted. Hey, what's your top 10 things? Well, number 3, hold on, I got a comment before you finish your list. I got a top 10 list, right? So I was going to just spit out all of them, and but the Constitution, I guess, just you had to object to it. You just like, nope, I cannot let this sit.
No, that's all I have to say about it. I would have something environmental, and that's what we need, is something sustainable utilitarianism.
Sustainable I like both of those words.
Yeah, but utilitarianism without focusing on the sustainable gets us 700,000 tons of plastic, you know?
I wasn't saying one is more important than the other.
Well, utilitarianism, providing the greatest amount of good for the greatest many, kind of runs into a problem when you got all those pollution and contamination issues right now.
So, what top 10 list would you say? What are the main issues that you feel like America, as a nation, we need to confront and, yeah.
You go ahead with yours. I'm still kind of thinking of mine. You go ahead. I don't want to interrupt yours.
No, I wanted to throw them all out in a big pile and then just stir them up.
Go ahead. I won't interrupt you more.
Are you sure? I don't want to, I'll give you space to talk.
Seconds. If I have anything to say about it, I'll just keep it to 20 seconds.
How about just let me spit them all out, and then we can revisit each one, and if you have any ones you want to add, because I want to find the common ground, and then I want to find why we disagreed on the ones that we disagree on. So, okay, so get rid of the Patriot Act, end police brutality, end homelessness and poverty, legalize marijuana, get rid of the war on drugs, end the wars, reparations, prison reform, housing, instant runoff voting, universal basic income, universal health care. I got a couple more. Referendum initiative recall, and a new constitution. Those would be mine.
What was the first couple? The first 2 or 3?
Let's see, federal jobs, Patriot Act, police brutality, poverty, homelessness, marijuana, in the war on drugs, housing, food, water, clothing, housing for everybody, security for everybody.
Okay.
So that's just my big pile. If I was to, I don't know my top 10 list. If I had to pick one, I think we're going to disagree on the top one, because I would pick UBI over, Medicare for all. But I want to establish, do you agree? Is there any of those that you disagree with?
UBI.
Out of all those?
I don't disagree with any of the other ones. I disagree with UBI. I think that police brutality is I would have to ask how and what specifically. But I agree on every single one except for UBI.
So instant runoff voting, you're okay with getting rid of the Patriot Act and the war on drugs and referendum initiative recall? You agree with all that?
Totally do. Wait, what was it? What are those again?
Referendum initiative recall.
Oh, fuck yeah, that sounds awesome.
Thank you. Yeah, they're usually bunched together, but they added it to Arizona and I think Colorado's Constitution a long time ago. It's when I came across them. And
so it means you're more easily able to recall shitty politicians, shithead politicians.
That's what it, not easily. That is what recall is. So you could get enough signatures, and then they get a ballot, and whether or not you have to put up a new guy, right? But then you can kick them out. And then referendum initiative is either they're both the same thing. They're both ballot questions. Just depends on if it's the people who put it up or the government who puts it up.
Heck yeah.
Well, I mean,
I didn't even know I was for it, but I'm for it.
Yeah. Well, do you have ballot questions in Oregon? I mean, in Colorado, like compared to Kentucky. I got so much democracy here in Colorado, like I'm drowning. It's like it's too much. It's like, my God.
Yeah, almost as much as you're drowning in the methane from the fracking wells, but yeah.
Radon, there's a lot of radon around apparently too. But the referendum and initiative recall, every year they ask me 10 questions about how, the state, how do you want the state to go forward? Do you want this? Do you want that? And they ask 10 different questions. So this year we released the gray wolves into the national forest. So that was the sexiest one. We also passed a family medical leave. So that's pretty, responsible and grown up. But it was by initiative. It's how marijuana got legalized too. So you can't, when the people vote for something, there's the powers that be. They can't do shit. When the people put the initiative, they get the initiative, they put it up, they vote for it, and then it passes. The powers that be are stuck. They have to do whatever the people want. So in Kentucky, just to compare.
There was one instance where they didn't. There was one instance. Sorry, go ahead.
I was just comparing and contrast to Kentucky, whereas they asked me one question in 2004 is basically, do you hate gay people? And, guess what Kentucky said? So whereas we don't have initiative in Kentucky, so we didn't, or when I was there, we didn't have initiative, so you could get all...
You're talking about the constitutional amendment for banning same-sex marriages?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Right. And that was the only question but since I've been here, I've only lived in Colorado 3 or 4 years, and I've already answered 50 questions about how the direction the state should go. Meanwhile, I lived in Kentucky, and they never asked me shit except for the one time, hey, are you a bigot? And they're like, yep, yes, we are. And so that's, even if you get 4 million Kentuckians to sign a petition saying that, you want to legalize marijuana, it wouldn't happen. Because it's not constitutional. You can't do that. It's, you got to keep...
The same-sex marriage thing was a voter initiative or not?
The same-sex marriage thing was a federal thing, so no, it wasn't voter initiative. That was from the state. So it was a ploy, right? Karl Rove and wanted to pull the Republicans and the haters out. So it was a national thing. So it was the state legislature that put it on. The state legislature, so that would make it a referendum versus initiative. I think referendum's the government.
Democracy while they were being bigots.
Yeah, but just compare and contrast that though. So this year, I was thinking about all these issues, and then in Kentucky, never once did they say, "Hey, what do you think about this?" It was just, "Hey, elect me. I'll be your guy, or maybe I won't. You never know."
We were going to talk about the UBI, I think.
You wanted to get into an argument about it. I think I was.
To know what I disagree with.
I want to know what you agreed with first. Did you hear that part?
I agreed with everything, except for, I just said about the police brutality, kind of like some of the earlier things you were saying, like in poverty and things like that. Like it was like, it's kind of big. It's not big. It's just broad. It's just like how do you measure and quantify it?
No, that's politics. So the problem is you have a lot of poverty. So then now the question is, what are the solutions to it? So that's a big conversation. I would agree with that. But that's the goal. End poverty. Get rid of poverty. So the only two major ways I know of is land reform. So people can raise their own food and they can live forever if they can learn how to raise crops on their land. And UBI.
Bucky Fuller, Wendell Berry is all about that. He's all about living on the land and de-urbanizing. I'm sorry. But Wendell Berry is a good resource on that, by the way.
Yeah, I know. That old poet in Kentucky. I'm familiar with Wendell Berry.
Oh, well, not many people are.
He's for agrarian society, which is what Thomas Jefferson's for, and it's what a lot of people are for. I'm for agrarian society, so I think that's...
Oh, he's awesome. He's so awesome. I love him.
So
my grandpa was from Kentucky.
This is leading into the universal basic income. So that's how I get rid of poverty. What's your plan to get rid of poverty?
Well, I don't know if I have one, but I just think that I'm against UBI. Basically, just the handout part of it. Unless you have seriously debilitated, unless you're seriously at the level of that you need Social Security or whatnot. Like if you're disabled, then you can have UBI, but if not, like you have to do something for it.
So you're not really. What do you? You're not going to do. You don't have any ideas for how to get rid of poverty. Are you okay with it?
No, I'm just saying that like poverty is bad, but another thing that's bad is people that are going nowhere and have no they're doing nothing good with themselves all the day long. You know, nothing worthwhile really. You know what I mean? So I mean, I guess if you have kids and one person's already working, you can get UBI. If you are disabled, you can get UBI. But other than that, you have to do something for your UBI, like visit nursing home for a few hours a day, pick up trash for a few hours a day. You know, do something creative and constructive, like work on a Wikipedia. You know, actually back-base, like...
That's what we should do for Medicare for All.
Like academic journals or some kind of... give you access to different literature and, like, let you work on Wikipedia or work on building the internet. Or work on... If you're doing academic research, you can maybe write that off to get your UBI. Or there's different things that you could do to get UBI, but not just a handout. Like, it has to be, I'm working on this business, I'm working on this farm, I'm doing something. So that's how you get it, is to be doing something that's helpful.
So would you be okay with putting extra requirements for Medicare for All? I mean, why would you be just why? I mean, it's just reading a little research paper, right? So if you're sick,
it's both humanity. So I see why you equate it, like providing people Medicare for All and providing people UBIs. It's all.
You got to add strings to it. You got to have Medicare for All plus strings. You can't just give that out for free. Just giving that out for free, they'll abuse it.
The reason you give out health care for free is because the pricing and the system is completely out of balance, completely out of whack, and it's never returning to anything sane. It's never going to go back to anything that's going to be affordable or reasonable, ever. It's been long gone for 30 years, and everybody knows it. That's why it has to happen like that, not because it's just, and capitalism is inherently bad. Capitalism under this completely corrupt form, which exists in the healthcare industry and pharmaceutical industry, is bad, and it's completely rampant, out of control, and it has to be stamped out all in one fell swoop by a Bernie type of figure. It should have been done 10 years ago. Obama said he was going to do it.
I mean, that's how you get rid of poverty, but it's I think I want to get rid of poverty more than you. What it feels like, because you don't have an alternative plan. If we don't have UBI, what are you going to do?
I'm for UBI. I just have things that are required to get to UBI. If you're not willing to go pick up litter for 3 hours, then
you shouldn't get health care. You shouldn't get.
You shouldn't be getting $2,000 a month for free.
Well, you shouldn't get free health care. Why should I pay for free health care for people that want to, not pick up litter?
Pick up litter for 5 hours.
They don't even want to pick up litter, so why should I pay for their health care?
Yeah, I mean, $2,000 a month for fucking 5 hours a day. It's a great deal. I mean, people are assholes if they don't want that.
The same could be said of Medicare for All. So I don't see the difference, to be honest with you. I don't see it.
How is a sick person supposed to go work?
They can research. You said right on Wikipedia, so it's boring in a hospital after you've got the surgery. You have to sit there and just watch TV all day.
Come on.
What? You can watch TV. That's what I do all day, is actually watch TV and find clips and then share it with the world. You mean you're allowed to just be a...
There's some illnesses and things that affect people in so many different ways that like people wouldn't be able to do that, and I think there's more compassion and help providing for the sick than just providing for everybody with it like a communist type of model.
$2,000 in everybody's pockets. You can go to whatever doctor you want to go to. You could get whatever medicine you want to go to. You could get your own doctor instruments. You could get your own instruments. You could get stuff from Amazon and order it for cheap. You get 3D model stuff. You could, my God, with the internet, there's so much stuff.
It's 10 times more expensive than they reasonably should be, and if there's inflation, like with UBI, then everybody can just go, and the supply and demand is going to make the prices go higher, and basically people are still going to be SOL. So the problem with UBI is that they might start fracking to pay us all our money, and they might start taxing the pharmaceutical and medical insurance and leave that structure in place, tax it, get money from it to give us all our UPI, but then those companies continue to rape and just do whatever they want with us and basically profit in horrible, heinous ways.
The same thing could be said for Medicare for All. The same thing could be said for Medicare for all.
You're trying too hard to equate those two things. They're pretty.
I'm not trying to equate it, because when I say we need to add strings to Medicare for all, you're like, what? We can't do that. It's ridiculous, and I feel the same way about UBI. So I guess
I didn't say that about Medicare for all.
Yeah, I did. I said you should do research, and you said, "Oh, come on, you're sick. Oh, come on, man."
How is that strengthening Medicare for all? How is that strengthening it?
To make sure that people once you research the disease that you're diagnosed with, you could actually learn and know what the hell you got and be part of the conversation. Simple.
That should not be required of patients.
It shouldn't be required of UBI. Hey, American, you want to live? Hey, American, if you want to live in America, you better obey and go do this and go do that. I thought we were guaranteed life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Right now, there's poor people in America. There's homeless people in America, and they don't have a chance. They ain't got a fucking chance. They live out in the cold. Ben, they live out in the cold, man. They're going to freeze to death.
Live like North Dakota and Alaska, where they pay people to live. Like people always say, oh, it's because it's so cold there. Nobody wants to live there. That's why they pay them. But I'm thinking a big reason why they pay people to live there is because they're extracting so much oil. That's why. Actually, they're extracting so much oil that they can pay people they're bribing people. They're paying them chump change so that they can take all.
Okay, I disagree with that. I think that's ridiculous. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is that there's poor people. They have a poverty death sentence, and they're going to be poor today, poor tomorrow, poor the day after. The homeless too, and they don't have a chance in America. Capitalist America, a bunch of asshole fucking. We don't have one single white Caucasian in Congress. So if none of our leaders are progressives, I guess the citizens are probably just as corrupt as. You know what I mean? Is there something about the white gene and being a progressive that's like against each other?
You're right. You're spot on. There's big problems, but
well, it's big problems. That's like we're on a.
What I'm pointing out about UBI is that UBI is extremely dangerous because nobody has pre-thought about this.
It is not dangerous. It's dangerous to keep it going.
The whole idea, nobody has really thought out. It's a brand new idea. It's completely new, utterly novel, and people are just like not thinking that it could result in a government like the United States of America tripling their fracking operations so that we can, and then they're bribing everybody with $1,000 a month. While they triple their fracking operations and give them $1,000 a month by tripling our fracking operations. Nobody's thinking that this is how it could play out. I'm thinking that.
Oh no, I'm thinking that now because you're speaking about. I'm thinking that Medicare for all could do that because it's like what $50 trillion to get a Medicare for all system. Where are you going to get all that money from?
Joe Biden's plan. That's Joe Biden's number.
You're going to
calculate. He's still paying the pharmaceutical and insurance people, his buddies. That's his plan. That's what it would cost.
It'll cost $1 trillion or something. I mean, it's all of America, and it's free, right? Just walk in if you got whatever, lung cancer, this or that, get it all just taken care of for free. So it's going to be $1 trillion, at least.
I don't think it has to be free. I think it can be like a reasonable standardized sort of fee, like it is like in European countries. I thought we were arguing. Most people were arguing for it to be like European countries and Canadian systems or some version of that. Like so.
I'm for the Canadian system. I'm 100%.
Even if it's free when you're going.
I'm not for the Germany system. I'm anti-Germany system.
Or it's not free, you do pay something. So either way, you're still paying.
I don't want to do Germany system. Germany system.
Joe Biden calculates it to make it look bad because we all know his agenda.
It's going to be right now. Medicare and Medicaid and Social Security take up a good quarter of the federal budget, so it's going to be a big program. It's going to be pretty expensive.
Is it?
No, it
doesn't. It doesn't take up a quarter of that.
It'll take $1 trillion. I'll bet you $100 it'll at least cost $1 trillion.
Okay, but I mean, we're talking about the current budget.
No, we're talking about Medicare for all.
Okay.
We don't have Medicare. That's a brand new idea too, just like you said with UBI.
I thought most people had already calculated it would actually cost about the same or even less to provide Medicare for all. I thought that was actually the number. But then you can look at Joe Biden's number, because Joe Biden's number is if you look at Joe Biden's number, you're right.
I'm looking at Bernie Sanders' number. Bernie Sanders, like, they admit that it's gonna cost there's gonna be a hefty price tag. It's Medicare for all. I mean, my God, how much did you think it cost? You thought it was gonna be like just a couple pennies?
Medicare is already 1.5% out of your paycheck. So if it comes 3.5% or 6%, but then you don't get a $20,000 hospital bill. If you don't get the $50,000 hospital bill, then, or you don't have to actually lose your entire house or your entire savings, or try to spend $1 million so you can stay alive 5 more years. Which I think, out of humanity, we should all do our best and push the science and provide the most for the most. But it's actually might be a little bit more expensive, but it's horrible for the individuals who are already suffering to have to go through that as well. On top of it, and
I don't know if they're not even willing.
Insurance kind of racket of our own, which is everybody pays in. I mean, insurance is just like everybody pays in, then they pay out to the people who need it, and like they run a business on top of it. If the government orchestrates all that, it's going to be cheaper. We're going to cut out the middleman.
But they're not even willing to research their own diseases that they got. They're not even willing to do that. They don't deserve it. If you're not going to research.
And the oil industry is a sacred cow, and the medical insurance and pharmaceutical industries and agencies are freaking the sacred cow, and you can't attack them. And we're all just programmed with these ideas that like it can't be done and whatever. And Joe Biden's going to reinforce that and tell us it can't be done and it's going to cost this and this and this. And keep working with all these freaking asshole pharmaceutical industries and healthcare and insurance industries. They are horrible, horrible individuals and people, and it's a horrible industry where they're profiting 30x off of people who are dying. Or they're profiting 50x off of their whatever, they're profiting 50 times, 50-fold, whatever. It's disgusting.
I wouldn't want Germany's system. I think Germany's healthcare system is awful. I want Canada's system. I think that would be better. Germany still has an employer-based system, so it still has to go through
the numbers of who's dying in COVID. Germany was doing a great job last time I checked. They were keeping their people alive.
So you would rather Germany?
All the people who are affected, with coronavirus, they lost like half of the people as other countries.
So you like Germany better than Canada? Is that what you're saying?
Oh no, I'm just saying, like, well, you can see that results. That's all I'm pointing out is the results in that.
Well, I think Canada's better than Germany's. Do you disagree with that or agree with it?
Oh, I don't know. I don't know what else to say.
Which country? What legislation?
For Medicare for all, not healthcare for all. I know that fucking much.
Oh, okay. So it's you're just talking about Bernie's legislation, not Germany or Canada's plan.
Oh, I'm just talking about
the idea.
It's kind of like the Green New Deal. It's like I want the Green New Deal, but I really want the Green New Deal and a half. I want Medicare for all. I really want is Medicare for all and a half. But what I mean by that is I don't want the watered down 20% of Medicare for all that Obama's or Biden's or Hillary's plan is. And I mean, we all know why these 3 neoliberals support those plans. It's not even a mystery. It's because of who they freaking are, who they're freaking funded by, and the party's going to continue to thrust those people on us as long as they're superdelegates. And there's always going to be superdelegates, apparently, until forever, because we had it for 52 years. They're even in the state party in California, as Jimmy Dore was, pointing out yesterday. In the freaking state government, they have superdelegates in California. They screwed over these nurses and other people who tried to get their politician in, and then insulted them when they were trying to rabble about that. The fact that their democracy, their democratic action and voice and efforts were all just completely thwarted by whom? Not by the Koch brothers, by people within their own party. People like Nancy Pelosi, these horrible neoliberals are thwarting the progressive, forwardness of this country. So, of course, there's people, the Republicans are like, oh, he's communist Nancy Pelosi and this super progressive Joe Biden. That's all just a game. That's all just their whole act. They know the truth and they know that they're lying. And that's the kind of people we need to get out of there. There's plenty of those in the Democratic Party.
Yeah, I think we agree on who the enemies are. It's just that we don't agree on, the bigger picture. The Green New Deal, they have housing.
I know UBI is your sweetheart, thing, so it's hard for...
It's not just my sweetheart thing. No, I just want to parse it out. It feels to me that, until Americans have a chance, I'm not going to sleep good at night. There's poor people and homeless people, and there's children. I think they said there is, hundreds of kids in Pueblo, Colorado, when I lived up there, and so all I could think about is, there's a damn homeless kid out here. What kind of a nation is going to allow that? I guess it'd be a nation that doesn't have Medicare for all. So,
but if we had a nation that
they don't have a chance. And my point is, they don't have a chance. And if they're waiting for Ben, they're going to lose.
Colorado,
Ben isn't going to help them.
Military, as you know, we spend 50% of our budget on the military. And if we were to spend some of that on homeless shelters, take 2% of the military's budget and spend it on straight homeless shelters, including in Pueblo, and if we take another 2% of the military budget and spend it on food stamps, it would be plenty of food and plenty of homeless shelters for every damn homeless person. And that's it. 4%. Sacrifice 4% of your military.
I see what you're saying, and I agree with it. But we live in a nation where we could pay for both of them side by side, but instead of doing that, we're all about
UBI as much.
we're all about empire and imperialism.
UBI is a bigger bill. UBI is a bigger bill to put.
I think they're they're both huge bills. They are both very big bills, and you're under.
Well, I just say that I just think it's more directly like hitting the affected spot to